Great. I am Rogelio Hernandez Lopez, and I am also an assistant professor in the bioengineering department and in genetics department at Stanford University. The type of bioengineer that I am is a cell engineer, meaning I work on trying to modify cells, not only to understand their biology, how they function at the single cell level, but also at the collective behavior level. And the idea is understand biology, but also perhaps make the cells to achieve new functions. And one system that I'm really interested and particularly excited about is the one of T cells, with the idea of creating novel therapeutics for cancer treatment. Here, what we're doing is putting synthetic receptors at the surface of these T cells. And with these synthetic receptors, the T cells are able now to recognize specific features of cancer cells so that you can redirect the cytotoxic activity of these T cells against cancer. Yeah, that's a very good question. I started in science as a chemist, and I think I always liked the idea of creating molecules, creating novel things, not trying to build things out of fragments. And I think for that, chemistry is great. But as I progressed, like during college and then later during my PhD, I got fascinated by biological matter, by proteins, and later by cells. And I just thought that there is so many things unknown in biology, but also at the same time, many things to discover or to create with biological materials that I just found fascinating to stay in this field of bioengineering, cellular engineering. I became interested in chemistry because of my experience with the science Olympiads. So when I was in high school, there were these set of contests that are actually worldwide in math, in biology, in chemistry, and physics. I think later on they came up with also computer science for them. So I started in math, but also because like there were professors at my school that say, oh, it seems that you might be good for like other subjects. Why don't you try chemistry? I turned out to be also better at chemistry than math, for example. So I had the opportunity to participate first in kind of like the regional contest and the national contest. And I went to the international competition when I was in high school representing Mexico. And through that process, I met so many people and had the opportunity to go and meet also college professors for the trainings and just to get prepared for this competition that I didn't know before that experience that you could actually dedicate yourselves to use the research and try to understand how things work. I always thought, oh, maybe I'm going to be an architect or perhaps an engineer, no? But more thinking about like chemical engineering but through this experience of going to this competition and meeting other people, that's where I realized, oh, there is this other field of research, and you can actually make discoveries or like try to understand how things work or write new textbooks, like things that we don't know. And yeah, that's when I decided that I wanted to actually do chemistry at that point, I guess, because I was also getting good results in this competition. But yeah, I've been always curious about like how things work and function. Yeah. I think what is exciting is that more and more I think bioengineering brings together people from different fields. And that's really exciting for me. Like being able to interact with physicians or peer engineers or physicists or chemists. But now we are all together, working towards how do we control or work with biological matter. I think that's something that is really exciting about bioengineering, that is multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, not only like within the science, but also across fields. You can think about bioengineering in the context of art, or in the context of like something that is very relevant to us, like now policy, so I think that it is a great field to be in. What worries me is that at the same time that there is like a rapid development of technologies and like tools to control biological matter is like the discussions around how do we, like train and teach everybody to what the correct things are and what others are not. No, I think that's something that I'm slightly worried. For example, just to give you a concrete example, no, the idea of biohacking, no, or like being able to make use of bioengineering or biotechnology tools in your garage. No, I think that's really cool. I think that has prompted a lot of discoveries and a lot of people to get involved and interested in science, technology, computers now, like in biology, or bioengineering, but at the same time, like the same idea of how do you prevent incorrect use of technologies, or inappropriate use of technologies. I think that's something that we should always be keeping in mind. We don't want to see things like on the side running around, or being uncontained. I think it's more about not being afraid of this. No, it's just like building, I guess, a set of discussion or having like enough interactions among like the different stakeholders to actually agree on how we move forward. But I am more prone, like, yes, we should like democratize like the access, to all these technologies, knowledge approaches, but not forgetting all the aspect of what we should be thinking in terms of like the ethics and the regulations. I think hopefully finding bio-inspired solutions to the environment and all the challenges that we have, as the population grows and there is more demands on food, or how do we clean water? How do we avoid contamination in general, pollution? I think there is a huge opportunity for bioengineering and inspired solutions to make a contribution there. So hopefully now we're gonna also have like, I don't know, buildings or things that are integrated with biological material and that we can interface with in a different way. I think might be 20 years might be too soon for that, but I think right now there is a good time to start thinking about how do we get there. One practical advice, I think, reach out to people. I think science and scientists or engineers, by engineers, at the end of the day, there's a community. We are a social entities, and I think the best way to learn what the field is and what the opportunities are is to talk to people who are already there. No, at all levels. No, I think for a high school student, maybe reaching out to college students, that are already working there, but also maybe someone doing a PhD or a professor in that field, because then that way you get different perspectives, different ideas of what the possibilities are. And definitely, yeah, then you start building a community as well through those interactions. And that's something that I think is very important as in a career in science, for example. Yeah, that's a very good question and point. I think thinking about what, I mean, there is many types of questions or things that like you as a student might be wondering about, and then picking a few at a time, trying to really maybe also do a little bit of research on your own and have a set of questions. Oh, I find this interesting, but also I don't understand these other things. So I think when we frame interactions in terms of like common questions or common interests, that's like easier way just to get things going in a conversation. It's much harder when it's just like, oh, I want to talk to you, or do you have some time to talk to me? Also, as the person who receives that message, it's like very ambiguous, like to receive that kind of like email. But like, if you get an email saying, oh, I read this and I found fascinating this, but I don't understand that, I think then that's already like a way to start the conversation, and I think people are going to be also excited about like discussing those things, regardless of like whether you are getting an email from like another colleague or a professor or like a college student or a high school student. I think it's always fun to to hear what other people are thinking and how they are interpreting what excites them, no? And many times you will realize that the excitement of a high school student is the same than, like, as someone who has been in the field for, I don't know, 30 years or so, and that's something that just creates like this nice environment to start conversations. Reaching out, I think you are absolutely right that there is still a few of us and fewer in respect to know how many people are in the field or in science in general. But I like to think positively in the sense of, like, we're making progress and connecting, with people in the community that you identified with, reaching out. There is, I think, for the most part, or the people that I maybe I've been very lucky that the people who I have reached out to and I identify with, they have always been willing to support and help, no? And because of that, I always also try to do the same, no? Or try to find, like, this common interest, like this common perhaps struggles, no? And discuss both. I think those are important. And the aspect that for sure excites me the most about being in science is being part of a community, and so finding that community and deciding who you want to talk to and, like, what people you want to interact with. I think that's very, very important and valuable, and something worth investing time, no, and effort. So yeah, that's is college mandatory? I think not because of the knowledge, but again because of the community and because of the interactions, because of um establishing relationships across, no, like, different stages of the career. I mean, the knowledge now is out there. No, anyone probably at any point can go online and learn, and hopefully not through different programs and, like, the use of the internet. Now we are gonna be spreading knowledge more and more, and very high quality content, no? But there is still, like, this aspect of, like, discussing with other people and just, like, sharing experiences, that I think that's where the college experience is still unique, and therefore will also propel you for the next steps and allow you to succeed in this area. So I think that's where the importance of college is at the moment. What would I study different, or as if I were back to college? I think maybe more biology, even though now I'm very interested, like, I think a little bit more biology and more physics, perhaps are the two things that I would like to have a little bit more knowledge on. But other than that, I feel that, yeah, like, this aspect of having a different perspective, no, and coming from a different field and then suddenly moving in towards, like, now, as I said, not this bioengineering field that attracts people from different places. I also felt that, or I've been feeling that I have, like, a unique perspective to the type of problems that we are approaching or trying to solve, and uh, yeah, I think that's also good to have something to contribute. It feels good as well. Yeah, currently I'm working on developing novel cellular therapies for the treatment of cancer, and why we do that. If you, for example, think about the current therapies, like, they are either of chemical nature or biological nature, but at the molecular scale. No, so you have a protein or you have a small molecule, but that's very, very different from now using a cell that has autonomous behavior. No, like, the cells know how to navigate our body, where to go. They can send signals and process those signals and respond. So I think then this higher order, higher level sophistication of the functions that you can encode, for example, into a therapeutics, no? That's something that will allow not only, like, the treatment of cancer, but probably the treatment of many other diseases, no? Having a way to really interface with cells and tell them where to go. tell them where to start the therapeutic functions, when and where to turn off. I think that's like that level of sophistication. That's something that I think we can only achieve with cells. And just because also, I mean, our bodies are biological material, no, or nature is biological material. So this interface between engineering cells or programming cells and having these higher order, more complex applications, that's something that hopefully we're gonna get there one day, no? And that really excites me about being in bioengineering. I think I'm gonna say that many times, and that's because of like a parallel work. I as a grad student with a group of friends, we started an outreach program for high school and college students, first in Mexico, and now the program has expanded to Latin America. With this work over the years, what we have found is that the most interesting question or the most exciting questions are coming from high school students. So I really think that all this curiosity and like maybe at the same time not being familiar with the material and with the content of a particular area also sparks innovation and sparks like these very interesting questions. So I will just encourage all the high school students to continue asking those questions. I think those questions are really, really cool, really important. And for me as a scientist now, like a few years like in this field is like really, really interesting and cool to hear what is interesting for like high school students. So I will encourage you or encourage students to ask those questions.